dominance, and that's Travis Kelce, who had 6 receptions for 81 yards and a touchdown en route to becoming the tight end with the most touchdown catches in playoff history. Here's Travis Kelce on where he stacks up among the all-time great tight ends.
I still got a lot of catching up to do. I know Unc is he's one of a kind, and he likes to tell everybody what's on his mind, man. But I got so much respect for him, Tony Gonzalez, a guy like Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Gates, Jason Wynn. There's so many tight ends that I have so much appreciation for. When it comes to the best, I'll say I definitely have one of the best situations out of any tight end in the National Football League, being able to be here with that quarterback in this offense, for sure.
I love so much how all these guys respect the guys that paved the way and came before them. Stephen A., do you think Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end ever?
I think he's worth being in the discussion. I don't know if I can say that definitively, considering the great career that Rob Gronkowski has had. Shannon Sharp. Yep. He doesn't get mentioned enough. Excuse me. This brother's a three-time champion and a Hall of Famer. This brother was something special. I remember the days of Ozzie Newsome, for crying out loud, and how he was a big-time tight end. Tony Gonzalez can't be ignored. All of this stuff is true. But when I watched Travis Kelce, he just seems unguardable. Like somehow, some way, he's just always open, even when he's not. And to me, that's the measurement of race. You could be good. You could be a great route runner. You could have great hands. But somehow, some way, when you're always open, that matters. And I look at a guy like Travis Kelce, and listen, even when Tyreek Hill was there, Travis Kelce has been the main target of Patrick Mahomes for the last 5 years. You know where Patrick Mahomes is looking to come to. You know who his main dude is. And somehow, Travis Kelce makes noise. Yesterday in the first half, he was running roughshod over the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to have to figure out something about Travis Kelce because their brother was putting on the show. And ultimately, I just look at him and I just say, look, I don't know if I can go as far as to say he's the greatest tight end of all time with guys that I've mentioned, but I will tell you, I can't say he's not. I really, really can't say, not based off of what I've been seeing from him.
He's number one. Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end of all time. Now, when you add everything into it, I thought Rob Gronkowski was before, because I felt like he was not only a great pass catcher, but he was a great inline blocker. He was so much, and he meant so much to the run game. But we can't start changing the conversations when we want to. The conversation for greatest always goes into who were you in the biggest of games, right? Who were you in the playoffs? In 18 games in the playoffs, Travis Kelce has 16 touchdowns. Travis Kelce has almost 1,600 yards. Travis Kelce is talked about as it comes to big games, to playoff games, in the conversation with one target ever, and that target's name is Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
So when you talk about it in that context, who has ever meant more to a team and their success when it matters most than Travis Kelce at that position? You can look at a Tony Gonzalez. You can look at a Jason Witten. You can look at an Antonio Gates, who have better career regular season stats than Travis Kelce. But when were we talking about them in this time? When were they conversations after the Super Bowl when you say that was the only target that Patrick Mahomes had? That's the guy we knew would catch the ball or he'd go to, and we couldn't stop him. So for me, right now, with what he's done in his career in the regular season, where he is when you talk about the playoffs and the way that he's performed, I think Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end to have ever lived.
Ooh. RC, when you started talking, the thought that went in my head was, yo, he's out of his mind right now to say that. And then hearing you describe it, I'm buying it a little bit, because I think your point, because my mind goes to Tony Gonzalez because the stats. He's got like 500 more catches, like 5,000 more yards.
Ridiculous. Numbers are there.
And the amount of games he's played in comparison to Travis is a lot more. And even Shannon Sharp, Witten. So I got to see how long Travis plays. But I think it's really hard to argue against you with your point of what he's done in the playoffs. To say that he is only behind Jerry Rice when it comes to receptions and yards in the playoffs is honestly shocking. That's crazy. Shocking to hear. That a play, and I think, you know, in many ways, and Stephen A., you might be able to speak to this a little bit more. I think that he's probably changed the tight end position more than anybody. Now, Tony maybe because he was one of those first athletic guys, but everyone's trying to find Travis. Every organization is trying to find their Travis Kelce, that guy that you just can't cover. You cannot cover him. And I don't know a lot of offenses that run their offense through a tight end the way that Kansas City runs theirs through Kelce. But I think your point of his accomplishments in the playoffs is a tough argument because of the amount of stats that the other guys have racked up. We got to see how long he plays. But I after hearing you talk, I lean towards you in that regard. I still think it's Gronk. For me. Mm-hmm. But the playoffs, man, it's a good point.
See, but you got to think about it. Now, Gronk obviously was just so good. He was the best pass-catching tight end and blocking tight end at one time. Right. And so, but Gronk also had those playoff moments. Gronk also had those opportunities to show us who he could be when it mattered most. But when you just think about Travis Kelce, it's not about revolutionizing the position. It's about playing the position in a way to where you forget he actually plays tight end.
Well, and here's the thing, guys. He has missed in the last 9 years.
I don't.
0, 1,
Yeah,
2.
he's an Iron Man.
2.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
2 games. 2 games.
Yeah.
2 games. And I might be wrong. It might just be 1. It's 1 or 2. I think it's 2. It's just 1 or 2. This dude is reliable, and obviously he's always open, even when he's not. Yeah. You can depend on him, etc. Yeah. But here's the other thing too, and this is a question. I want to know from the both of you, how much do we take into consideration who's throwing you the ball? Because when I look at a Tony Gonzalez, I'm saying, what if he had Patrick Mahomes? When I look at Antonio Gates,
that's an interesting point.
And listen, let me tell you where, in a positive way, let me tell you where it really hits me. You know why? Because I used to love me some Air Coryell. Dan Fouts with Charlie Joyner and those boys, Chuck Muncie. Who was Dan Fouts' number 1 weapon? It was Kellen Winslow Sr. Yep. You understand? We all know what a bad brother that man was, okay? Right. So when I think about a Kellen Winslow.
There's no question about his throwing accuracy, his throwing ability, his running ability. He's got it all.
Yeah. I also wanted to make sure we didn't miss that part where Jalen Hurts was the most mature person on the entire Eagles sideline. Remember when they had that, it was a review, and Sirianni's like kind of trash talking the Chiefs. Yeah. And Jalen Hurts grabs his arm like, come on, Dad, stop embarrassing me. Chill out, bro. We got a game to win.
That's why yesterday's devastating, though, in my eyes. Like, yesterday's a devastating loss for Philly, though.
Yeah, it is.
Candidly, because the quarterback played so well. They're up 10 at halftime. They have the best rush offense we've seen in years in the NFL, and they don't finish the job, and they're going to have to pay him a ton of money. Like, that's why yesterday's a devastating loss.
And they have a legendary defense that had all those sacks this year, and they didn't have any last night on Patrick Mahomes. Why, RC? You're in the stadium. Why was their defense, which was so good all year, why was it not last night?
I mean, let's think about what we saw from the Kansas City Chiefs against the Cincinnati Bengals, who had put on a ton of pressure on teams throughout the season, and the way that they protected Patrick Mahomes on a bum ankle in that game. And then you come into this game as well, and when you think about Eric Bieniemy and also what Andy Reid were able to do, they ran the ball more this game because they realized that the Philadelphia Eagles facing the run weren't as good as they were when they had opportunities to pin their ears back and get to the quarterback. There was also the creativity in getting the football out of Patrick Mahomes' hands when they had the right opportunities to get the football into their playmakers' hands for yards after the catch. And the other piece was this. There was always an extra guy in blocking. They always used the running backs to chips. There were the tight ends that were involved in the pass protection as well. And then there's Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. When he needed to use his legs, when he needed to be creative, he did that as well.
How about it, Dan? I know you have some tape on this defense.
Yeah, the big thing was that Kansas City paid attention on offense and started to take what Philadelphia was going to do versus certain looks and or motions and use it against them. So this is a stack up top, it's man coverage. Now, when the motion goes, they're going to do what we call rock and roll. The corner's going to replace the safety. The safety comes down and takes that motion guy. They're trying to out-leverage the jet sweep, essentially. Great, so this is second down. They hand it off, all right? Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy going, okay, that's how you're going to handle the motion. Very next play. This is the very next play, third down. Get into that very same set. Now the motion comes from the bottom. Now watch Darius Slay, because this looks like that jet motion. He's going to go back, play the safety. Safety's going to go in, out leverage that jet look. Instead, Kadarius Toney, with speed on the motion, puts his foot in the ground and comes out. Uncovered touchdown. They paid attention on second down and realized they got information for third down. Here it goes again. Second down. There goes that jet motion again. The nickel is going to kick to the safety. Safety wants to get out.